The 3 scariest episodes. Hello, everybody. Hello, hanksters, spinnerets, and haunted individuals. Welcome to Homespun Haints Video Edition. I'm Becky.
And I'm Diana.
We want to share with you some of the scariest moments from our first season. For anybody who's new to the podcast, Diana, can you tell everyone a little bit about what we do?
As hosts of Homespun Haints, we interview people who have real, true paranormal stories. We like it when they're ghost stories, but we'll take what we can get.
Because we have 3 seasons, we are going to share with you the 3 spookiest episodes from our very first season, just to give you a taste of what we're all about. Before we get any further, I want to make sure that you all hit that subscribe button down there under the screen, because if you like scary stuff, you're going to want to make sure you don't miss anything this creepy month. Number 3. Are you ready?
Are you?
Our first guest is Marjorie from Alabama, and this is episode 9, Have You Seen the Hat Man? We had actually never heard of the Hat Man before we heard Marjorie's story, but apparently it's a worldwide cultural spooky phenomenon. And we're going to play you just a little bit of that story now, and we want to know what you think.
There was a figure to my left standing there. He had on a hat and an overcoat, and it was just different shades of dark. And it came towards me, and it bent down and got about 6 inches from my face. And I put my hand out, and there was nothing there. I just kept batting at the air. It's nothing there. Well, it stood up. And I watch as he goes around to my sister's side of the bed. And she's got her back to me. And he leans over and he puts his hand in front of her face. And she starts screaming. And I'm like, oh shit, she's seeing it too.
Then she turns around and notices her sister sees it as well. And her sister starts screaming.
Oh,
that is like, the second level. The second level. Not the second level of hell, but just the second level of corroboration of the story. Right. I love that.
What she mentioned before we played that snippet was that she thought it was all in her head. She had a long day at the beach, and she thought that she was just seeing things. And then her sister saw it too, and she was like, oh, that's real. And then she started looking up what the Hat Man is all about. And that is terrifying. This thing appears all over the world. Nobody has any explanation for him. And he's terrifying. And there's photos that people have taken. There's videos of him. There's even a few documentaries that have been made about the Hat Man. And he always appears with a hat, some kind of long jacket. And it doesn't have to be a haunted house. He could be in your home right now.
The best thing about the Hat Man is we've actually had other guests since season 1 also tell us about a similar sounding creature or being or entity or shadow. And for some reason, the thing that keeps coming up is I can't see his mouth, but I know he's smiling.
Yes.
Why? Why is he smiling? Why is he smiling and you can't see it and you know it? What is this thing? I hope I never see the Hat Man.
Number 2. Another super scary episode. And this is when we interviewed Amy Markham, who is an artist in Tennessee. Very talented artist. And also seer of ghosts. Amy was currently living not beside, not next to, not across the street from, but in a cemetery when this story takes place.
I came back to my house and I laid down to take a nap. And this is the one and only time in my life I ever got sleep paralysis. And, that's that horrible feeling where your mind wakes up, but your body is still asleep. So the weird thing that happened to me during that experience was when my mind woke up, I was like, I know it sounds crazy. I was like outside of my body. I was like above me and could see me, but I also knew that I was there. So it was like being in two places at once because I knew I couldn't move my body. I was trying to and I couldn't, but I could see me trying to move my body. And I also felt this really horrible, dark presence in the room with me, but I couldn't turn to see it. And I felt like it was trying to talk to me. And so like I tried not to freak out and just listen. And it kept saying that I had to say its name to be able to wake up. And I don't know what its name was, but it wanted me to say the Admiral. And if I could say the Admiral, I could have control of my body back. So, and it was like terrifying because I'd never had anything like this happen. And to know that I've got a backyard full of thousands and thousands of dead people. And if I'm not in my body, who is in my body? And can I have it back, please?
Have you ever been possessed by a dead body?
I've never been possessed by anything that I know of. Hopefully. I could just be possessed right now and...
We both could. What if we're possessed by two middle-aged women who really wanted to do a paranormal podcast and we're actually
blanket forts.
You're blanket
Sentient
forts.
blanket forts.
Where the hell do you come up with this stuff? She was living in a cemetery where something took over her body.
That's terrifying.
It is terrifying. Now, what she also mentions in that episode is that when people would come to visit her in this cemetery home, it was the gatekeeper's house that it was being rented out as apartments. That's how she ended up actually living in a cemetery. She would hear the front door open and then shut and then bang, 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 bang on her door. And she'd let him in. They'd be like, there was somebody downstairs. And she'd be like, yeah, I know. This place is haunted AF. So she was not at all surprised that there were ghosts and things. But I think that was pretty terrifying for her to realize that something else had a hold of her. Especially considering who her neighbors were.
Quiet, but still.
Or not so still. Just quiet. They tended to sleep a lot. Well, before we get to the number one scariest episode, Diana, would you care to elaborate about what is behind you on your spooky mantle?
Oh, this is my Halloween decorations. Some of them, anyway. There are many. They are legion. But these are the lenticulated portraits that look spooky from one angle and normal from another.
I love those. I have no idea what this looks like, but I will look at the video later.
That's riveting. I love it.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you could see that.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, fun.
After that long segue.
Number one.
Number one. Ha 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 ha.
Even just listening to the snippet, it's going to give you chills. I promise. I promise. Listen carefully.
So when we got there, they put us in the attic. That's not creepy. It was nice. I mean, it was a nice attic, but it was the attic. I can't emphasize that enough. We're in the attic. We stayed there 4 nights, and I believe it was the second full day we were there. We went hiking. So that evening, we're trying to get my youngest one to settle down, and I'm up on the bed with my 3-year-old. And right above the bed is a light fixture. And my son is just hopping around, having a great time. And then at one point, he turns to me and he points and he goes, "Mommy?" And then he stopped and he turned and he looked up at the ceiling. And he said, "Other mommy?" Then he turned back to me and pointed and giggled and said, "Mommy." And then he turned back and looked at the ceiling and pointed and said, "Other mommy with the rope." So yes, I slept in that bedroom that night. And the next night as well. Because I did not want to be inconvenienced with trying to find another hotel.
Plus, people pay good money to stay at haunted hotels.
Apparently, I was the first guest that had ever complained about a hanging apparition in the attic.
Becky,
They didn't seem to know anything about it.
did you complain? I can't picture you complaining about
I
that.
didn't complain. I just wanted to make sure they were aware.
There you go. Yeah. First guest to complain. I'm not complaining. It's fine.
I'm not complaining, but my kids saw. Yeah, no, it was kind of one of those things where I went to the person as we were checking out of the hotel, and I was like, "Is this place haunted?" And then when I told her about what happened, I watched all the color drain from her face, and that is what I live for. Watching somebody get so scared that they just, like, nothing left. They're just gray. They skip a few breaths. You can almost see their heart, like, just drop to their feet. And then they stumble for words, and they may tinkle themselves. And then I know I've done a good job.
I think what she's asking for is reaction videos. You know what to do.
Please? 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 Tell us how scared you are. That was such an honor when you said that you still get chills every time you hear
I
this
do.
story.
Just
Diana.
listening to it just now was like, "Wah, wah, wah." I slept in a haunted basement for a year. I really can't judge.
Exactly. Thank you. Which you guys are going to hear all about in our episodes in seasons 2 and 3. Every episode we reveal a little bit more about Diana's haunted basement. And yes, we're dead serious. Diana has ghosts in her basement.
Under me right now.
Scratching at the walls.
Stop that.
We leave you all with some nightmarish dreams.
I just want you to put in the comments what you thought about each of those snippets. If you've ever listened to Homespun Haints before, which you can do on your favorite podcasting app and or on our website, homespunhaints.com. Well,
Until next time.
have a spooky day.